I think I want to start talking about the value of self-connection. Because I'm teaching the course, I'm spending a lot of time self-connecting. And it's not just about seeing ourselves and being there for ourselves. It's that when we actually spend time alone, we remember what's true for us. And when we go out into the world, it gets confusing because there's these other realities where people have convictions about, and they're loud. And of course, we're interested in the other person. We want to connect. So sometimes we step into their reality. We might not agree with it, but we step in and we join them in their reality. And what happens is that when we pull out, we carry a little piece of their reality with us. And it reconfigures our sense of what we think is true. And then we go and we interact with another person and we pick something up from them. So imagine each time you're going into interaction, you are bringing with you a piece of them. And of course, you're leaving a piece of you with them, right? That's just the nature of things. But this is why during my meditation, my mind might go to a conversation I was having with a friend earlier, right? It's taken that piece of information, it's taken that aspect of the reality that was given, and it's trying to fit it in with how does it work with all of this? Is that something I'm going to take in and it's going to become a part of what I think is true? Or is that something that I leave behind? And the thing is that we can't go through the selective process, this filtering, without having a strong reference point for what is us. And the only way you can have a strong reference point for what is actually yours is by spending time with yourself. It's by steeping in it. It's by becoming familiar with what the flavor of you is. And that requires time alone. So part of self-connection is engaging in moments where it's just you and you. So that we have a strong sense of what our values are, of what matters, so that when we go outside and there is something that is different, we can look at it with interest and know in that moment, oh, that's theirs. I don't need to engage with that. Or, oh, that's really interesting. I hadn't seen that aspect, right? We can be more present because we are grounded and rooted in the essence of what is us. And when we are grounded and rooted in the essence of what is us, it's easier to set boundaries. Because we start realizing as we interact with the other where we're starting to lose ourselves or where there's an intrusion that's happening. And that loss or that intrusion can be really destabilizing. And we feel it. We feel it as confusion. Or maybe we feel it as anger because there's an intrusion happening. The emotions give us information about what's happening so that we can adjust appropriately. And so setting a boundary around what is us to protect this connection with the essence of what we are is something that happens moment to moment. We're just not aware of it. And when we're not aware of it, it just becomes a defensive strategy of no, I'm going to cut this off, or, it comes later once the boundary has been transgressed and has gone far enough that it's elicited a strong emotion to capture our attention. But when we develop awareness, we can notice that these transgressions are happening all the time. as well as moments of self-sacrifice. And they're very subtle, they're very small, but they affect our state. Now, oftentimes when we think about setting boundaries, we think about no. No. Which has a quality in it that is defensive. And that will be felt by the other, which will generate other drama, right? Defensiveness in them, potentially conflict, misunderstanding, disconnection. So I've become really interested in how can I set a boundary that actually is connecting the other person to what's alive inside of me, connecting them to the capacity to collaborate, to meet my needs, connecting with their compassionate side, their generous side, their loving side. And what I've discovered is that where I place my attention really matters. If I'm placing my attention on what I don't want, then it's going to be a no. But if I'm placing my attention actually to what I'm wanting and that I'm not receiving, now I'm connected to a yes. And when I'm connected to what it is that I'm wanting, there is a relief that happens in the organism because there is a recognition in that moment that the awareness is there and the possibility for being able to meet that need. When I'm saying a no, I'm not necessarily meeting that need. I'm just getting rid of the thing that is causing distress. When I'm connecting with the yes, it's giving me clarity. It's giving me, to a certain degree, self-empathy by the interest and the acknowledgement. And what that does is it deactivates the system. And the deactivation of the system gives rise to more awareness, more clarity. And I am able to be very precise about what it is that I'm needing. And to be able to articulate that is very powerful. To be able to tell somebody, oh, I'm noticing that I'm really needing some space right now. Is a boundary. Versus saying, hey, I need some space, you need to get away, like that's a no. But a yes to what my need is, I'm really needing some space, changes the tone in which it is delivered. And that tone is the whole difference. I'm connected to my yes. And somebody hearing that with the tenderness, with the gentleness of attending to my own heart, my own needs, most likely wants to contribute to that. It's a completely different outcome. And yet it's still a boundary. It's a boundary to protect my need for some space.